What's up? What's up? We're here with another episode of BoomBox Weekly.
You're listening to BoomBox Weekly.
What's up, family? Back with another dope episode of BoomBox Weekly, man. We got another dope female director, actress, producer, writer, all of the above. This woman is so talented, man. I'm your host, Omar Cook, and I'm joined by...
No, another dose of positivity for the day. Get into it.
And we got Columbus, Ohio in the building. I think you're the first person from Ohio, to come on the show.
Really? Midwest stand up.
Midwest stand up. You know what I'm
Midwest,
saying?
OH.
Tiffany Campbell, what's going on? Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here. Super excited. You know, I haven't been asked to do a podcast in a minute, so I'm glad this is the first one.
Oh, yeah. No, it's
Been a
major.
couple
You
years.
know what I'm saying? It's major for you to be here with us. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate it.
We love you for coming.
Absolutely, and you've got a interesting story that I think a lot of filmmakers and even just creatives in general can relate to, and that's the Hollywood dream of actually moving from Ohio to come out here and live this LA life. It's not easy, even for people that's from here. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about your origins there in Ohio. And you blew up in Ohio, you know what I'm saying, before you even came here. You know what I'm saying? So how did you get involved in entertainment, and what made you want to actually become like a real filmmaker?
Yeah, so I have been writing since I was 8 years old. I kind of always saw movies, and I didn't know how to make them, in second grade. And it was a Family Matters episode that inspired me to start writing it down. Like Steve had wrote a story, and then they were like acting out the story. I said, that's how you do it. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I started writing then. But I always knew that filmmaking was the goal. And as I got older, I kind of got distracted from that a little bit. I lost my confidence with doing it. Like I thought I needed to be behind the scenes. Like, okay, I just need to write. I don't, though I wanted to act, I wanted to do so much more. I just wasn't confident in it. And then I got into a relationship that really broke my spirit. And I wasn't as aggressive about doing that. And I felt like that the person I was with, I felt like he was just jealous of my light and the things that I carried. So I didn't think that I could balance both. So the second we broke up, I was out here just wanting to be the best version of myself. I'm I'm about to publish my books. I'm a published author as well.
Okay.
So I started with publishing my books, and it got to my third book, Don't Disconnect. I wanted to make a trailer for it, and so I hooked up with a director out there, Director Lavish, Stefan. Shout out to Steph. He's coming out with his feature. So proud of him. But I connected with him, and while we were shooting this trailer for my book, he said, "Hey, you remind me of this girl that's up and coming. Her name is Issa Rae." And I said, "Who is that? I never heard of Issa Rae." And he's like, "You need to look up her stuff. I think you can do this." And that was the first time someone told me and confirmed to me what I always wanted to do, that when I thought I couldn't do it anymore. He was like, "No, you need to do this." So I went and watched Awkward Black Girl, and I said, "Oh, this is easy. If she could do this, I know I can." And so I kind of journeyed out to try to make my first web series. Didn't work out because I didn't know what I was doing. And then a few years after that, a friend of mine had reached out to me and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about writing a script?" He lived in North Carolina, so we went out to North Carolina, and we worked all day on just outlining this script. And I'm like, I want to do this in Columbus. I don't want to have to wait or travel across country to try to make a movie.
Yeah.
And so I go back, auditioning at this time, and there's a group of filmmakers that reach out to me to audition. I reach out to them, or I go to the audition. I know I'm not right for the part, but it was just so cool to see people my age doing it. And I talked to the cinematographer, and his name is Kyle Meeks. I talked to him. I said, "Hey, if I write something, will you shoot it?" So I didn't know how this works. And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Just give me a script, and we'll talk about it." A week later, I had a script. I was at my desk at work. I thought of the last relationship I was in. I said, "Man, I wanted to make this a book, but maybe I'll just make this a movie." And in an hour, I had a script.
Wow.
Was that toxic?
It was toxic.
Okay.
It was toxic. So I reached out to him. a week later, I said, hey, I got a script. Like, what's up? I got some money.
Yeah.
What can we do? And we shot it a couple months later. And one day, I had 200 subscribers on YouTube. You know, didn't think really anybody was going to see it.
Right.
And we put it out there, and it just blew up.
Yeah.
And I was so shocked. I said, wow, like, I didn't know.
What was the view count on it?
Now we're over 400,000,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So like 415,000. So, yeah, I have
Major.
like 4K subscribers now,
Yeah.
you know. So it just really started the process of like, oh, I can do this. People in Columbus took me serious. Like,
Absolutely.
they didn't know I even wanted to film make. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
a lot of people watch it to be nosy, you know, because they're seeing me and like they know it's about a toxic relationship. So
Right.
it was just a really like, it was a good way to start it. And
Yeah.
it was in the middle of the pandemic. That was April 2020 when we came out with Toxic. And and then 4 months or 5 months later, I was in LA.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
You were just mentioning that you put out the film in your hometown, which is kind of like, and you said it's about a past toxic relationship. So it's kind of like putting your business out there. Sis. So it's like, I know it probably was healing when you was writing it because it probably felt good to get it out on paper and to just go move through your emotions. But did you have like a little like resistance before it came out just because it's like, damn, like they gonna know my business a little bit?
Such a great question. Absolutely. Well, when I wrote it, I felt really good about it. So I want to like teach people not to do what I did. That was my goal. That was my purpose. And when I shot it, I was so excited. And then a couple days later, I get a call from my ex. And he knew about the script. When I wrote it, I told him. I was very upfront, like, hey, I wrote this. You know, it's not necessarily about us,
Right,
but,
but it's
you know, it's inspired. It's inspired by us. But this is why I'm doing this. And he had gotten wind of the script. I never sent it to him or anything, but he had gotten wind of like what the context of it was. Yeah. And he asked me not to put it out. And I have not talked to that man since.
Period, because you're not going to tell. You put me through it, I'm putting it out.
Yeah, you know.
I can go through, you can go out.
Exactly. You know, and it's not like I'm saying, oh, this is dedicated to, you know, like nobody knows it's you. Like we have been so far removed from that relationship. No one even knew who he was unless you grew up with us or you knew us. Yeah. But it wasn't about that, you know, and I just made up in my mind, like, no, you're not going to stop me from doing anything else in this life. Yeah. And if you are making this about you, like, that's still the problem. That's still the problem. Man. So I had a little bit of anxiety just surrounding that of, you know, knowing that he was going to see it and whoever was connected to him we're going to see it. But I'm like, well, at least I got 3 or 4 views.
You know, I got more than that.
I know I got that for sure. But I think I was so disconnected from that relationship. I wasn't necessarily worried for me. It was more so about who it could affect. And after a while, it didn't matter. So
you created that from an authentic place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy that you probably weren't even looking for that to blow up like that.
I didn't think.
You know, and now it's this thing where it blew up your YouTube. It solidified you as a filmmaker. You know what I'm saying? And you probably inspired so many different people that have been through toxic situations. I mean, we all have a toxic relationship. You know what I'm saying? I like what you said. You know, you went through a relationship with someone that you felt was dimming your light. You know what I'm saying? And getting around the right people and releasing the energies that no longer serve you is big for your growth, you know what I'm saying, as a person, especially as a creator. You know what I'm saying? So that's dope that you were able to channel that into your art. You know what I'm saying? What was the next step for you? Like you moved to LA. That's a big move.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What was the thought process? Say, you know what? All right, I'm going to LA. I'm going to do it.
It was God, because I wasn't trying to come to LA. At least not then. So when I put out Toxic, my thought was Atlanta. Okay. I'm like, I can afford Atlanta. It's a drive. It all made sense in my mind. And when I was praying about this decision, I couldn't get nobody to, like, co-sign me. Yeah. I kept saying, like, yo, I'm going to move to Atlanta. I'm going to make films out there. I'm going to act. And I was like, okay, yeah. You know, just think about that just a little bit more. Yeah. And then I had a dream that, and God be talking to me in my dreams, so I really be paying attention to them, especially when I'm trying to figure out what to do next. Yeah. I had a dream that I was driving around Atlanta and I was lost. And then I went to a friend's house who lives there, and I just didn't feel in place. Like, it just felt like I wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And so I woke up and said, okay, well, I'm not going to Atlanta. I'm just going to stay my butt in Columbus.
Right.
Started filming projects out there. Finally got a team that worked. And it was just one random day in September. I was kind of going through some things in Columbus, and I was like, I'm going to just take some time off work, and I'm going to go to L.A., because L.A. was always my escape. Like, I loved coming out here. It always inspired me. I just, like, once I was full in my adulthood, I'm like, I don't know how I can make that work. I don't think I can. And I called my best friend on the phone. I said, hey, I'm going to go to L.A. for a few weeks, and she just started crying. I was like, what is wrong with you? I'm just going for a little bit, and I'm coming back. She was like, no, I just heard in my spirit the Lord said that when you go, you're not coming back.
Jeez.
Like, you are.
Wow.
You out here.
You were supposed to be there, and I instantly started crying because it resonated with me.
Yeah, you knew you needed to make a move. You was just waiting on him to let you know where.
Exactly, and when. I always wanted to come to LA, but like every time I wanted to come, it was for a selfish reason. I was more about what I wanted and what I was trying to do. I didn't even know I wanted to be a filmmaker when I wanted to come out here. I was in my author space, and I'm trying to be in the celebrity spaces. It was just all these selfish reasons. And I felt like God had to really just humble me and just get me to a space where he knew I would just be obedient no matter what he said. And so, when she said that, and I sat with it and I prayed, and I just knew, I'm like, I'm supposed to go to LA. I don't know how this is going to work. I didn't want it to work. I'll be honest with you. But everything started falling into place. And when I mentioned LA, which I thought was so much more ridiculous than Atlanta, everyone was like, yeah, that's where you're supposed to be. Like, go. And I cried the whole way. I cried because it happened so fast. This is September. October, I was out here planning to be here for vacation, was here looking for apartments. I said, God, please do not let this apartment get approved so I can just move when I'm ready. I'm not ready right now.
Take this bitter cup from me, please.
Yes, it's October 2020. It's the pandemic. Nothing is open. I didn't understand it. And the apartment miraculously got approved. Like everything, who I shot roommates with, Tyra, she was moving out here at the same time. So we ended up becoming roommates in real life. And experiencing that whole entire show together. But like, it all just fell into place in a matter of weeks. And I was so scared. I was so scared, but had so much love and support around me because I really didn't know how it was going to work out. And by the grace of God, it did. And I'm thriving out here, which is just insane to me. Coming from the Midwest, it's like I could never see myself paying what I pay in rent. I was trying to make my $1,000.
I never thought I would be. Sis, I never thought I would be used to it. Like none of this. I just be like.
I live alone in LA. You know what I'm saying? So it's just God has just truly just saw me all the way through, even though I was kicking and screaming the whole way.
No, that's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Being able to listen to the voice of God, to be able to follow your intuition, trusting him.
And having friends that are so connected to him just as you are, to be able to speak to you.
Yeah.
And with discernment that, oh, wow, he just told my friend to tell me that. Yeah. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think they were telling you the whole time. I mean, they were comparing you to Issa. You know what I'm saying? They were giving you, this is who you're about to be. This is where you're about to go. You're about to go out here and do it. And you had the thought process to say, okay, let me watch Awkward Black Girl, and I can do that. You know what I'm saying? She showed you a blueprint, and now you're running with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's major. And I commend you on that, because it takes a lot to be able to do it yourself, star in it. You know what I'm saying? And actually make some dope productions. You know what I'm saying? So you created your own production company, Creative Productions.
Oh,
that's so cute.
Thank you.
It just clicked.
I know.
Creative.
That was God too. I would get so many compliments on that name. I love it.
Absolutely. So, and then you took it a step further. So you have the show Roommates.
I have Roommates. That was my first comedy show, mockumentary style, so kind of like The Office. I had a roommate situation that just was so fun. That's my best friend to this day. But when we lived together, I said, this is a lot, you know, and I would love for somebody to like see this world of like these polar opposite people living together and what that looks like. And I had met Tyra, who starred in it. I met her in an acting class, and I just saw her in a short film, and she was just such a cute girl. I said, "Aw," and when I saw her, I just thought of, "Oh, she could play my roommate." Yeah. I didn't even know, I didn't understand that was like God connecting us this whole time for us to actually be roommates in the future. Yeah. But she was so excited for the idea from jump. Wrote the whole season like in a day. Yeah. Didn't know what I was doing.
A day?
Yeah. A day is wild.
We shot it over a weekend, you know, with some people from back home, and it was great. Like, we had such a fun time doing it and looking at it. I'm like, oh, I would change this. I would do this. Right. And us moving to LA, we're like, oh, this is perfect now. Like, now we can really like shoot something and make this like real about our lives. Right. And so we started writing the season and working on it when we first got here, and then it just kind of like fell to the ground. Absolutely. So it's been years. I've been promising her that we're going to do a season 2. Yeah. And I'm finally ready to like start producing it out here and bringing it back to life, and really doing it at another level, because I felt like I wrote, directed, produced, and starred in it. Yeah. I'll never do that again. I have no choice of just here talking about. I will never do that.
No, that's a lot.
It's too much, you know. And I felt like so many things were missed because of it, and so I really want to do it better and like give it its just due with season 2. So that's what I'm working on.
I'm one of the things. Just thinking about how many people or transplants there are in LA, you know, and I just want to talk about the transition, you know, from moving from your hometown to a completely different space, because I think that that's something that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, what was that like for you, and what was like adjusting to LA? Because we're from the Midwest. It's pretty much country.
Yeah. And we're so personable and warm and kind and like good intentions.
And then and then it's like we're heavy on like, if we mess with you, we mess with you. But if we don't know you, it's like I don't know you.
Exactly. So and here people will love you for less.
Oh.
So what was your exactly. So tell me just a little bit about like what your time adjusting from Ohio to LA was while, like, you know, in that process of making roommates.
It was definitely a culture shock when I moved here. Moved here, of course, in the pandemic, so there was no, like, networking things. It was Clubhouse. That's how I was starting to meet people. I'm so grateful for that app. I'm grateful for its run. Wow. Because I met some of my friends that I still have to this day, like, here in LA from Clubhouse, and us just connecting as filmmakers, actors, writers, whatever. So that kind of helped me to, like, start getting into the world to see it from the outside, but I wasn't really making, like, friends in person. I didn't know... Like, out here, you know, people say, yeah, let's link up, let's do this. Me and you been talking about it for 4 years, and it ain't happened until now. So it's like that when I'm used to, okay, we say we're going to do this, we going to do it, you know? So I realized I had to be a lot more aggressive about, like, connecting with people and also not letting the one time be the one time. Like, you actually have to follow up. My homie has like a thing called Follow Up LA, and like that's his thing. Like, hey, don't just follow, like follow up with them, you know, like talk to them again. Don't just let that be a one-time thing. So I really had to learn how to network. I hated networking in Ohio. It never felt genuine. I didn't like feeling like I'm trying to connect with you to get to it. You know, like I like meeting friends. Yeah. That's what I like. I like meeting people I like. Right. Because if I like you, I want to work with you. Right. I don't want to just network with anybody or talk to anybody. And it was so jarring to also see people who were like that, even from the Midwest, who had gotten out here and has shifted of like, well, who are you? Right. Who do you know? Right. Who are you connected to? I'm like, bro, we went to the same high school.
Okay. Like the same free lunch.
Yeah. Like, yo, we can't be cool out here because I don't know LeBron. You know, like that's kind of crazy. So I just started learning who I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
And who I didn't want to be connected to. Yeah. And that kind of led me to my community, like just naturally. And then I was meeting people who had saw Toxic. Right. And so they just wanted to work with me. Like, yo, like you inspired me to do this. And like people who I didn't even know, but they already knew me. So it was so helpful that I was doing the work in Ohio because it made the transition a lot easier. I didn't have to. Exactly. Yeah. I didn't have to wait to come to LA to show people what I could do. And I'm such a person where it's like, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Yeah. That's just it. Like, I have to be an executor. And I learned the difference of, like, how that sets you apart because so many people talk about it. Like, yeah, I wrote this. It's like, well, what did you make? Right. With what you had, you know? And I've always been someone to want to use those resources. So that helped the transition. It was, you know, a little lonely at first, but... Yeah. The more I kept, like, being determined to meet my people, the more it started to come. Yeah, so.
That's very big, man. Finding your community, you know what I'm saying? And I think Hollywood teaches you a big lesson of, like you said, who you don't want to be. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And we have this, like you said, you have this idea of, I mean, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be a celebrity, I'm going to do all this, right? We all have these big dreams, right? But it really humbles you to a point where it's like, okay, you get a taste of it, and it's like, what do I really want? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And what do I really have to offer? What do I really value? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it really makes you hone in on your morals. And you get two choices here in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? You get to actually stand on your own 2 feet, or you get somebody else that takes the decisions into their own hands, and now you're at their you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Discretion, right? So, but you've made a lane for yourself, and you've created a lane for others now. And you also have another film that's doing pretty well, 30.
30, yes.
Talk about that. How did you come up with the title for that? You know what I'm saying? And what's the thought process behind it?
Okay, so 30 came about. I was here in LA, and I was triggered from a past situation where, I don't know if I should say, I'll just say it, whatever. I was ghosted. And I was triggered. I was on Instagram, and I was just watching this man live his life. I said,
"While you at home,
he is not thinking about. I had to heal from this, and he is just not thinking about how he hurt me, you know." And I said, "You know what? I'm gonna write about it. You know, like that's the thing about dating me, getting in a situation with me.
Might be in a film.
You will be amused at some point, you know. So don't break my heart. I'm gonna write about it. Yeah. So, I decided to, you know, just write out like a comedic play on what I went through, just overall, and then coming out to LA, because I had just turned 30 when it happened, and initially I called it Ghosted, and, you know, my director was like, that is too obvious, like, you cannot call it that. But I also noticed that this transformation happened of me turning 30, you know, realizing I wanted love, I wanted a relationship, I wanted to work towards this, and felt like I met the person like that was right for me finally. Like, wow, everything is falling into place. And it took me 30 days to really recognize that, like, oh, I'm getting ghosted. Like, this is over. Yeah. So 30 is really a play on two things. It's about being 30, but also the 30 days that it took her to realize what had happened and to recognize her worth and value in the midst of this. But it's a really good film, very funny. You know, has a romantic feel, has the friendship feel, you know, because it's really about the love that she has within her community, the love she has within herself, and that she didn't have to, like, seek that out other places. Once you have that fully in yourself, you'll start attracting it to your life. So that was the motivation behind 30. When I wrote it, I didn't have any money. I had no resources, no team.
But she did it, y'all.
Yeah. And how it came about is I was driving in my car, and I was talking to God. I be talking to him a lot. And I said, hey, I have this script. If you want it made, you going to have to fund it. Because I have nothing, you know. And this is like LA filmmaking. It's not the same as, you know, I could throw a couple people together, give them lunch, you know, ask for their time. Yeah, people need money out here. Absolutely. And I didn't have it to give. And I heard in my spirit, you know, Lord said, okay, like, I'm going to get you $10,000. And also this person is going to donate $5,000, you know, to the cause. And I said, yeah, okay. I hear you. You know, didn't know if it was real or not, because when you get a word from the Lord, like, I be needing that confirmation. Like, I don't know if I'm just hearing things.
Not just you,
So a couple days later, out of nowhere, when I tell you this came out of nowhere, my mom sent me a PayPal of $4,000.
Wow.
Out of nowhere. She didn't know I needed money. She didn't know that I was praying and believing for this whatever. Right. And I called her in tears. I said, why did you send me this money? She was like, I don't know. God told me to send it to you.
Wow.
You know, she's like, so whatever you need, I don't know what you're trying to do out there right now, but whatever you're trying to do, this is for that. Right. And so me getting 40% of what I needed in 2 days, I said, okay, I'm doing it, you know, and I started calling around, found my director. When we met, she was one of the people who saw Toxic and was like, we have to work together. So I called her. I said, hey, can you help me make a movie? I think I'm supposed to do this. Here's the script. She read it. She's like, are you in my diary? Like, what is going on? This is my life. Like, yes, I'm going to help you make this. We came together, still only had him $4,000. And it was a little closer to $3,000. I had to invest some things. And I didn't ask. Like, people just started donating to me. You know, I had a cousin give me $4,000. And then I did a book signing back home. I made $2,000 there. So, like, I had the 10. And it just came to me, and I said, wow, God, like, you really did that. Right. And it took a few months to actually get us to where we were able to film. And once we got to filming, the $10,000 wasn't enough. Right. And we realized we needed more money or everybody wasn't going to get paid. And it didn't sit right with me. I'm like, everybody's been putting in work for this. Mm-hmm. They have to get paid. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do a little crowdfunding campaign to try to raise at least $2,500 more or something so we can at least pay. I think the director and the AD didn't have a budget yet. Yeah. So, and then, you know, we just wanted like some miscellaneous or whatever. So I start the campaign. Day one, it's hours in. I have $100, 25 of it being mine. I said, okay, well,
and the test begins.
We are going to do our best, guys, whatever we could get, you know. I think by the end of that day, we maybe had like $300 or something. And then the next day, my mom gave me more money. Wow. I said, Mom, you can't just be the only one, you know, but it's okay. I'm going to take it, though. I'm not giving it back.
If that's who God assigned.
Exactly. So I think by day 3, we had maybe $1,800 like all together, you know. So I'm like, okay, we're about there. Yeah. I wanted a little bit more. We had like 10 days out from shooting, so I said, okay, it'll just work out. Yeah. But mind you, when I got that word, the Lord had said one of my friends was going to give me $5,000. I never asked this woman for money. Never thought to ask her, like, you know, knowing she's wealthy and all this stuff. I was like, no, like, I'm not about to. If it's supposed to happen, like, she'll want to do this. Yeah. So I'm posting about this campaign every day. I wake up on the 4th day, and I had a PayPal of $5,000 from that person. Wow. And I just called her in tears. I said, what? Right. Why did you send? She's like, I believe in you. She's like, I don't even know what you're doing over there, but I see that you're trying. I see that you're working. She's like, and I just want to help you. And she's like on set for her show, you know, and it's just like, nah, like, I see what you're doing. I just want to help. There it is. We had more than enough money. I'm so glad she sent it because once we got down to insurance from them cameras and them lenses, we needed like $3,000 extra that we didn't even know we were going to need. Right. So God just was so instrumental in that film of just like, no, I want you to do this. And when he calls you to something, he will really fund it and set up the resources, set up the people. You just have to be obedient and just keep walking. Like, just keep walking, keep trusting. I didn't know what I was doing the whole way through, but he met me each way and just kept sending people. So be obedient, man. Whatever he's telling you to do, do it.
Hey, you just dropped a sermon real quick.
Okay.
You know, hey, I hope everybody just took note of what she just talked about.
I
you know
did.
what I'm saying? Right, definitely. I was right on time.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Hey,
all of that.
look, you know, trusting God and being obedient to what he's called you to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And in the midst of that, like you raised the money already, $10,000, and then you came to a point where you already are shooting the project, and you're like, dang, I gotta pay. That's a tough position to be in. You know what I'm saying? And then for you to actually trust in him to provide more and you get more than what you needed, I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
feel
4
like that's how
days.
God works when you willing to take that first, when you be obedient and take that first step.
Yeah.
And just have faith. And I feel like a lot of us are so scared to take that first step, especially coming from where we're from.
Yeah.
These smaller cities and towns, like being used to, we could go get an apartment at home for $700.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Being so used to that and like, oh, it's so expensive out there. I have people tell me that all the time, like, oh my God. I'm like, bro, you're gonna get used to it. God, you have to take the first step,
Yeah.
though. You'll never know.
You'll never know.
So that's a beautiful story. Thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you.
No, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that inspired me. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to go pray when I get up.
Like, let me have a
There's
combo.
some
Right, I gotta
ideas
talk,
that
you
I
know what I
have.
mean?
Me and him gotta have a conversation.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's time.
So go ahead and tell people what's next for you, because I mean, you've shown what you can do already as an independent filmmaker, and you know, already killing the short film game. But I mean, I know there's more.
Yeah. So I am working on my first feature film.
Okay.
I co-wrote one already, but I'm working on my own feature to actually shoot independently. And I would love to shoot it back in my hometown. Like, I just want to create the space and resources there, and they've been asking me to come back and shoot something, so I would just love to do that. So I'm working on writing that now. I'm also developing a web series with 3 of my other friends, and we actually have gotten that picked up by an entertainment company that wants to help produce it. So we're in talks with that right now. Can't really say too much until, you know, signed and delivered, but that's coming. It's actually with the ladies that I went viral with. I don't know if you saw the video, the Man for Me. We were singing like Little Mermaid, and it was like, I want to be where the niggas are. I'm not about to.
I'm gonna go find it.
Go find it. We went viral
Yeah, you gotta tap in.
a couple months
Follow
ago.
too.
We went viral a couple months ago, and everyone just wanted to see what the heck we were gonna do next.
Yeah.
And so, but we were already developing this show together, so it was good to see like, oh, people like the 4 of us on screen. I was like, oh, this is like girlfriends. Like, what y'all got? So,
Little preview.
working on that. And Roommate season 2. I'm working on developing that and just really trying to build a good, solid skeleton crew out here, because I really want to get back to shooting, but I want us to get back to doing it for the love, you know, like where I will pay a little bit. God ain't gonna give me $15,000 every time, like maybe more and above, but like I want to shoot at a much faster pace to just show people like what I can do, because you know how it is out here. Like, you really have to, like, as an indie, you have to prove what you can do with the little bit that you got.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find a skeleton crew right now to just be consistent, to be like, hey, can we all get together, shoot something, you know, just take a day of our time or whatever. So that's my big goal. And then, you know, something's in the works behind the scenes. So just follow, pay attention. You know, where it'll be more things like this where I'm sharing my testimony and sharing what God is showing me, while also talking about, you know, navigating life through this industry, life, love, everything. So, yeah.
Tell them where to follow you at, Tiff.
Absolutely.
You can follow me at simply.creative. That's CREATIFF. People always type in creative. Creative. On Instagram, Simply Creative, everywhere. So if you look me up, you'll find me, Tiffany Campbell. My YouTube is Creative Productions. So you can see all my previous work on there. And yeah.
Man, you came here and you dropped a testimony, you know what I'm saying, and you dropped some inspiration, and you showed resilience through your story, you know what I'm saying, and you showed willpower, and you showed that with faith anything can happen, you know what I'm saying, and I think people need to hear that. So we thank you for sharing your story on the show today.
Of course.
Yo,
Thanks
man.
for having me. This
Absolutely,
was fun.
It's a great
absolutely.
episode.
Yo, hey, look, that's I ain't gotta say no more, man. Look, I'm Omar Cook. That was another dope episode of BoomBox.
I'm your co-host, Aneu.
And we got Tiffany Campbell.
In the building. Bye, y'all. Thank
Hey,
you.
let's go, man.
Until
Tap
next
in.
time.